Hey, we're live.
Hey.
We're here again. It's the Wisdom Within with me, Esther and I.
And me, Dale Darley.
Hello, and we've just been discussing how we've both come here leaving a trail of chaos behind in my case. I've just been hastily making my son a bit of food. We've been out for most of the afternoon, so the last hour has been a bit of a whirlwind of hectic activity. And I've just had a shower, so my hair's still wet, and I haven't brushed it because I've got my brush. But we're here showing up. This is me. This is my life. Just as I am. And I know that would have caused me some anxiety some time ago, but yeah, this is real life. And I am a single mother in the school holidays. And if I can't find my hairbrush, I think that's okay.
Perhaps the dog is eating it.
I wouldn't be.
What's Shanti done with your hair? Well, it's funny. I mean, I've literally just shown up. I am boiling hot again because it's so hot outside. But I have literally come back from a dog walk. And it's like, oh, like how wet is my hair? It is horrible. But as tonight is all, everything's falling to pieces. As tonight is all about celebrating you, then we need to turn up as we are.
Absolutely, yeah.
In our wholeness.
Yeah, and that is the point of it, isn't it? Because that celebrating you is all about not listening to those voices saying you can't possibly go on a live stream if you haven't got your hair looking perfect, or you can't call that a meal if there's no vegetables in it. I just bundled together the quickest meal I could put together for my son and figured that giving him some food is better than no food. And I didn't beat myself up about the fact that it wasn't a particularly healthy meal. It was good enough. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's about recognizing that we are good enough as we are, and celebrating the good. Because I don't know about you, Dale, but I think I've spent most of my life being guided by this inner critic who I've said before, my inner critic seems to really hate me. And for much of my life, my inner critic couldn't wait to tell me how awful I was, and how much I was failing at life, and how much other people obviously hated me, and how just everything about me was wrong. The way I look was wrong. The way I talk is wrong. Everything is wrong. And that inner critic has guided me so much through my life in how I thought about myself, and how I've shown up, and how choices I've made in life. And none of those choices came from a good place. And none of that came from a healthy, positive place. And it was only when I was able to recognize that was just a voice in my head, that wasn't truth, that was one opinion, and that there was actually another way I could look at things, that I was able to change that, and started to notice just how cruel I was being to myself sometimes. Really helped me to see, I could try saying something else to myself instead. I could tell myself something else. And it's really hard, isn't it? Because a lot of the time you don't even notice that you're constantly putting yourself down. It's just this habit that we get into of self-deprecation, constantly criticizing or second-guessing ourselves, second-guessing other people. We won't say something to somebody because we think we know how they're going to react, and we don't like that, so we don't do the thing, we don't say the thing, and then we don't get the outcome that we want. And you don't even notice it's going on below the surface such a lot of the time. And that's where what both of us do can help, because through yoga practices and through self-reflection and through journaling, you start to uncover all that stuff. You start to notice it. And I know that you wrote an amazing post today, I think it was, wasn't it? I certainly read it today, all about this journey of looking at your life and seeing where you've evolved and grown, and seeing that you can't evolve without
shit.
Yes. We don't go through the good times. It's only through the crappy times that we do grow.
I mean, I did write it as revolution, revelation, and evolution, because I think, you know, we go through those periods of, you know, it's like this big bang wake up, and we get a revelation, and then we evolve. And I think, you know, when we're able to celebrate who we are, that those awful things become less and less. I mean, I've had the same as you, Esther. While you were talking, a picture of me in a leopard print dress, that you would ever imagine me in a little tight thing. But I remember going into Cardiff, into a punk shop called Paradise Garage, and I bought this. I've got some photos somewhere. I'll post one in the group, but I bought this dress that completely hugged my figure. It was just like a long tube, and normally, because I hated my body so much, I always wear baggy clothes. And I got myself all dolled up, and I went out into Cardiff, and this git of a man walked up to me and went, "Nice body, shame about the face." I actually, because I'm a bit smart with my mouth, was very rude back to him, but I was devastated, absolutely devastated. And I just remember standing in this bar waiting for my friend and thinking, it's true, I am truly ugly. Even though I was very smart and sweary and aggressive back, I don't think I even said anything smart. I think I probably just told him to F off, but I was so hurt. And all my life I've had this issue with like my body and what it's looked like and hidden it. And you know, the really strange thing is, having my spine fracture last year, I've lost a smidgen of height, not much, because I've had a good osteopath. But I got lumps on my back where the compression fractures are, so my back is ever so slightly curved. But it also means that my stomach is a little bit distended. I've never had a fat stomach in my life, but I've always thought that I did. Well, now I do. And, you know, I can't do all of the, because I'm still in pain, I can't do all of the exercises to, well, I'm saying can't. I'm looking at an exercise system that I think is going to help me. But the most curious thing that I have now is I stand in the mirror with a body that I definitely would have hated years ago. And I thank my body every day for healing and giving me my life back. And that for me it's like, when I look at those pictures of me, I was like this thin, and I thought I was that fat. I've got modeling pictures of me, and I look at them and I think, like, how could anyone have taken photographs? Look at that size of that stomach, and it's like, really? You know, you could turn me sideways and I would have disappeared. But I thought that I was ugly. I thought that I was fat. And yet now, you know, I'm much, much older. I'm not going to say how much older, quite a few years, much, much older. I've had those fractures. My body shape has changed. You know, I've not been able, you know, I can go out walking, but I've not been able to do those things. But every time I like go and get a shower and I put cream on, I look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't really want to look at you, but I do, and I go, thank you so much. Because if my body hadn't have done what she had done, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So I think there's something that's got to switch in that head. It's like when you look at yourself in the mirror, you've got to do that positive talk.
Yeah.
You know, it's no good looking and going, oh, look how many wrinkles I've got. No, I haven't got any.
Oh, me completely small, like a baby.
No wrinkles. But we do. We look at ourselves and we make these judgments, and it is all based on that you know, what I call the revolution, the revelation, and the evolution. We have to look at where we've come from and look at just how bloody amazing we are.
Yeah, and it's really empowering when you start to allow yourself to think that, because it's almost like we have to give ourselves permission to even think it's okay to start doing that. Yeah. You know, because we're so used to that voice in our head and the messages from out there that are constantly telling us, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you need to buy all this stuff to be good enough, and then you need to buy more stuff. And, you know, all that feeds that insecurity and that thing that we're not good enough, because if we were good enough, then they wouldn't need to sell us all those products. You know? But just to sort of give yourself permission to even begin to consider that you might be good enough, that in itself, that's a step that feels sometimes, that can feel huge. That's like
massive.
Over the Grand Canyon. And it was when, I mean, I didn't start doing that until I was doing my yoga teacher training. And we started looking very early on in the course, we started looking at awareness. And there's this the process of becoming aware of your body, of your thoughts, of your emotions. And I started to notice just how much I was beating up on myself all the time. And the things I was telling myself, I would never have said those things to my worst enemy. And if somebody had said those things to me, I would have told them to piss right off. I was nowhere I would have let another person speak to me like that, but I was doing it constantly. And it became a real, that was a real eye-opener. No wonder I felt this low about myself. No wonder I felt constantly so bad, because I was telling myself on a minute-by-minute basis that I was a scumbag. And
I know.
Once I was able to do it, I started to think, you know, like one of the things I used to tell myself was, I'm terrible, I'm very scatterbrained, as you know, and anyone else that's watching this that knows me knows that I'm fairly notorious for, I'll put something down and then 3 seconds later it's in a different room, yeah. And I could never find my keys. So anytime I went to leave the house, it would be another 10 minutes, me storming around the place, swearing at myself because I couldn't find my keys. And I used to tell myself every day, at least twice a day, I'm a bleeping idiot and I bleeping hate being me. But when you're telling yourself that twice a day at an absolute minimum, you're not going to feel good about yourself.
You're not.
So there's this concept in yoga called Pratipaksha Bhavanam, which is to flip the negative. So when you notice a negative thought, you flip it so that you make it the opposite. So instead of I'm an idiot, I would start telling myself, well, I'm trying not to lose I'm trying to do this. I started trying to put my key in the same place every day. And so it gave me this other focus. Instead of focusing on the fact that I thought I was an idiot, I was focusing on, well, I'm trying to do better. And it started to really change how I felt. And, little things like that were incredibly powerful, because the more I became aware of that thought, the more I noticed all the others and was able to do the same thing. Flipping that negative thought about myself and then about other people as well, because I noticed it wasn't just myself I was thinking all these well, and it just changed how I viewed myself and the world, and it just transformed so much. I started to feel like I was an okay person then.
And I do exactly the same in my journal. When I write things about, like, I've always hated my arms, but I don't anymore, because I know by saying it, like, what a ridiculous thing. How can you hate an arm? It's like, people say they hate their knobbly knees or they hate their feet. And I think, well, actually, my feet carry me through 4 walks a day. I love my feet.
Yeah.
So I'm really acutely aware of that negative talk. And I almost feel like I've trained myself to notice it. So it's like, put it all back. Put it. So I tend not to. But the way that I trained myself was in my journal, was to allow myself to free write whatever it was, and then actually sit and go, turn all of those negatives, just like you're saying, just turn all of those negatives around. But the other thing I did, Post-it notes. I went around writing little love notes on Post-it notes around my house. And what really shocked me was I'd find one and I think, how did I not know that Post-it note was going to be there? So I went through. So every once in a while, I'll do something nutty. Like if I'm feeling a little bit down, I think, right, Post-it notes out. When you go to bed, write yourself a lovely note. And I'd get up in the morning and I go to the fridge and I think, what does that say? Put my glasses on. And I think, who wrote it? It's like, well, obviously I wrote it because I'm the one who lives. But I tell you, that whole, I know it's crazy. I honestly, I would. I go and I think, who wrote that? Me. No, I'm not a silly girl. You're very clever, young lady. But that was so truly wonderful to come downstairs in the morning, like put one on the kettle, put one on the fridge. What I do now is in Lidl, when they have they pile all the kids stuff, they do alphabet magnetic things. I don't like an untidy outside of my fridge, but I do put words on there now, and I kind of have this, oh, it looks scruffy, but I really love when I come and look at it and it says like healed bones, or it's got the word I've written I love you or something like that. So I think we can celebrate ourselves not just by looking in the mirror and switch it, flipping the switch, like you say, flipping the switch and saying, do you know what, I love you. But writing yourself little notes and using magnetic things and just every day say thank you for something that your body has done or your mind has done for you. Just say thank you. It's the small stuff. It's the small stuff that's going to make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. It's like that thing of with just like a general gratitude practice. I always say, you could be grateful for the fact that you had a cup of tea in the morning. That is a small thing, and the more that you can build up the bank of small things that you're focusing on, the more you start to notice the good things eventually. Like with my talking about now looks and looking in the mirror, I used to hate what I saw in the mirror. Absolutely, I couldn't bear the way I looked in the mirror, and I used to always, because I used to have very big teeth. I mean, I got big teeth. I think I've got big teeth anyway. But I used to have very goofy teeth. I needed a lot of brace work when I was a kid. And being called Esther and having big protruding teeth in the 70s was...
Oh, Esther Ranson.
Yeah, I got to a point of wanting to punch people if they said, "Oh, Esther Ranson, ha 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 ha."
Oh, like I'm glad I'm like several thousand miles away from you.
No, I'm over that now because nobody said it for a very long time. But when I had all this brace, all this dental work, and that in itself caused me loads of problems because I went from having these teeth out here to having a mouthful of metal and hands, and it was really ugly. And then I still was really conscious of my teeth. I was a teenager then, and I was really conscious of my teeth. So every time I laughed or smiled, I would cover my mouth because I didn't want anyone to see my mouth. And if I had a photo taken, I'd end up trying to keep my mouth closed. And so I'd end up pulling a ridiculous face. So photos of me always look really gross. So any photographic evidence I had backed up my idea that I was really monstrously ugly. And then I don't know at what point it was, but I think I just started letting, maybe there was one photo that I had where I was maybe caught unawares and it was just me smiling. And I thought, actually, that's quite a nice smile. There's lots of teeth, but it's okay. And now when I look, it's my favorite part of my face is my smile. And that came from that one moment of thinking, yeah, actually, maybe I don't
You do have a beautiful smile.
And I would not have been able to cope with you saying that a while ago, but I do. I like the way that my face looks when I smile, and I think that's not just about my mouth. That's about the whole way.
Well, the whole thing lights up.
Yeah. But it took such a long time for me to be able to do that. I was so uncomfortable with it. But then it is just that little, you need to switch that. It is that switch to change. Like, actually, I look nice. I look happy. And maybe that was what I saw in the photo, was that maybe I look happy in that photo. And it is that little thing, just that little spark that can change how you do something completely.
I would really encourage people, and I'm not going to use the try word, is to actually is to stand and look in the mirror and appreciate, because you know, when my body is much straighter than it was, but at first, Esther, honestly, you know, I would stand and look at, you know, how the back was deformed, and that my stomach was right under my breast. I mean, I'm putting them up here, they're down here, but you know, we won't tell anyone they're down there. But everything was just, and I would look, and like you say, you know, these thoughts of, this is hideous, and I'm standing there and I'm looking, and it's like, I don't want this. And crying and really being so upset, but then looking and saying thank you, and you know, pulling my shoulders back and knowing that I would be able to change that shape over a period of time, but I had to go through a healing process. That has got to be, in all those years of looking in the mirror as a skinny little thing with actually a great body, when I look back at the pictures and thinking it was hideous, to looking at something that was nothing like that, and really, you know, never appreciating that. And now you're standing there and everything is deformed.
Yeah.
And you have to find that thing that's inside of you, and you have to look that person in the eyes and say, I love you and thank you. And you're like, when you're putting your cream on your body, you're saying, thank you, body, for, you know, what you're doing for me. That has got to be, and that is, it's not so much a battle now, but it's still a battle. It's still, when I look in the mirror and it's like, when will I have my beautiful body back? But it's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. So it's funny you say
work.
It's when you're saying that about how we view ourselves and how we see things so differently. When I was 18, I had a brief flirtation with bulimia, and it was a fairly difficult time of my life. Obviously, yes, it's a fun, very stupid thing to have said, really, wasn't it? Obviously, that was a challenge. But I remember walking through Treorchy, so just a mile down the road from where I live. And I remember looking in a shop window and seeing myself, and I remember the moment thinking I looked absolutely hideous, grotesque, obese, you know, all of these. I was huge, like this big weevil wobbling through Treorchy. And then a couple of years later, I remembered this, and it was like as if I had the image stored in my brain. And I saw myself in this reflection, the way I probably actually looked, on two skinny little matchstick legs with no fat, you know, nothing. I mean, I'd had a baby 6 months previously, and I was probably dangerously underweight, considering I'd had a baby 6 months previously. And it was really strange how my perception of what I was looking at was so, you know, I mean, obviously eating disorder is an extreme form of that, but we do that all the time. You know, you look at yourself and you don't see, because we're looking straight for the flaws. It's like looking for your lines in a magnifying mirror. And I accidentally did.
I don't do that.
Oh, I did it by mistake. Oh my God, it was awful. I'll never do it again. But it's like we're looking through one of those at ourselves all the time, and we just need to. We need to turn around and look at the other side of the mirror, because we don't need to look for the flaws. Because why look for the, you know? Why do we do it to ourselves? It's a strange. It's like we have this bias towards the negative, don't we? And we need to train ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
To focus on the positive and to look for the good.
So I think that the takeaways then is to encourage people to remember to look in the mirror and say I love you, to, you know, maybe put post-it notes up of, you know, lovely things, to, you know, about how the bits of it that you love about yourselves, and do it before you go to bed and wake up in the morning. And just, I think my big message to anyone watching this is celebrate the small stuff. Just keep celebrating this every single day. Celebrate the small stuff.
Yeah. And for me, like I mean that you don't have to remember the name, but that practice of flipping the negative is Pratipaksha Bhavana in yoga. But just flip. It's like turning the mirror around.
Yeah.
Don't look through, you know, don't look through the magnifying mirror. Look at the other side and just flip. So if you catch yourself thinking something negative about yourself, or if you, you know, if you feel yourself going on a down, and look for those small wins that you can celebrate then. So, you know, if you've had a bad day and you feel maybe you made a mistake in work or something, look for one good thing that you did. Look for one good thing, one way you've helped somebody, one way that you actually achieved something. Or go and look in the mirror and tell yourself that you're wonderful and you love yourself. Just try and flip that negative around. The more you make a practice of that, the more you start naturally. I find it comes quite easily now. When I start getting a bit critical of myself, I find it a lot easier now to just flip that switch and go, well, okay, yes, maybe you got that wrong, but look what else you did.
Exactly. And you can do it while you're cleaning your teeth. I mean, how often do we clean our teeth and not look at ourselves? I mean, what a great opportunity to just look and appreciate who you are while you're, 2 minutes, 3 minutes that you're brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
So yes, we must do more of this. You know, I live in nature, and you know, you look at a tree or you look at the side of the mountain. They don't sit there and go, "Does my bum look big in this?" or "Oh, is my branch ugly today?" They just are.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to be. Just be little tiny minuscule little wins every single day, and we'll get there. There. So, my darling, what are we going to do next week?
We're going to talk about, and I love that you come up with this because this is so what I need. So this is basically going to be Dale teaching me.
Go.
Because next week we're going to be talking about simplifying life, simplifying whatever needs simplifying. And it is I'm not sure I'm going to confidently contribute much to this one. I think I'm going to just listen to Dale's wisdom because I'm feeling very much like I need to simplify a lot in my life at the moment. So I'm sure I will have some useful thoughts to contribute by then. But
I've done a lot of simplifying. Just coming here and having to let go of a lot of stuff has brought a lot of simplicity into my life. And I was saying to my mum today, you know, I've just literally a couple of weeks ago put a big bag of shoes under the terrace to either sell or give to charity. I can't wear them because I can't wear high heels. But I have no desire to buy any more shoes. I mean, I probably would if I was living in the city somewhere. But I live such a simple life. But we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
This week we want everybody to celebrate the small stuff.
Yes, and we've both written journaling. We've also written blog posts that contain some reflections and some journaling questions that you can take to your journal and use to reflect on your own where you can celebrate in your life. I'm just popping mine into the comments, and I'm going off in search of Dale's as well to also put into the comments. So you can, there's loads of great ideas, great thoughts in both of these posts that you can then take and, you know, do some reflection on your own life. And feel free to share in the comments how they helped you, and share with your friends. You know, the more people can get this idea of celebrating yourself. And imagine if we all woke up tomorrow morning and felt really good about ourselves, it would change the world entirely. Brene Brown says, hasn't she, that she's quoted some research that showed if women woke up in the morning and all felt okay with their bodies and their appearances, then and not that I'm wishing anyone to go out of business, but entire industries would collapse because we wouldn't need to buy their products anymore. So I think
I'd be out of business with the number of people who write books for people who've got stuff that they need to work through.
The knock-on effect would be terrible, but it's a really interesting concept that there are entire industries sprung up around the fact and maybe encouraging, and you know, that's a whole conversation itself. But because we're all feeling so bad about ourselves, there's money being made out there, and you know, it would be a revolutionary thing if we all woke up and felt great about ourselves. It would, you know, you wouldn't need to, well, all of the world's problems, I think, could probably be solved fairly quickly if we all felt a lot happier.
So this week, it's hashtag celebrate the small stuff.
Hashtag celebrate the small stuff. I like that.
I'm writing it down because I'll forget by the morning.
Yes. I'll just pop it into the...
But it is, we have got to celebrate the small stuff. So that's our mission for this week. This week, we're going to, all of us, celebrate the small stuff. And then next week, we're going to work out how we simplify life.
That sounds like a great plan. Yeah.
I better get writing.
So, yes. So see you same time, same place next week.
Bye.
Bye.